Pearson. Put through by Greenhoff. Jones is after it. Pearson shot, goal!
And welcome again to the big match. Today we've got action from 3 of yesterday's matches. From the First Division, Queen's Park Rangers against the leaders Manchester City. From the Midlands, the clash between West Bromwich Albion and newly promoted Wolves. And from the Second Division, Sheffield United against Crystal Palace. But first we go down to Loftus Road with its crowd of 24,000, drawn by some of the best names in the football business.
Mike Shannon is in town, his form picking up after that £300,000 transfer from Southampton, and now 4 goals in his last 3 games. And sharing part of the attacking burden with him today, Joe Royle. He gets a recall after City's unimpressive 2-2 draw against Widzew Łódź in the UEFA Cup on Wednesday. Facing City is one of their former stars, Stan Bowles, someone who's yet to get on the scoring sheet this season, which means that defender David Needham, Rangers' big buy in the summer from Notts County, is already 2 ahead of Stan. But things are looking up a bit for this Queen's Park Rangers side. 1 point from their first 3 games, but they followed that with a home win against Leicester and an away point against West Ham, and now have Ian Gillard returning to their defence after missing 2 games with a gashed foot. But a late change, he's Brian Williams, formerly of Bury at number 4, in place of John Hollins, who injured a hamstring in training yesterday. As for Manchester City, they look as though they really mean business, with Shannon, Royle, Peter Barnes and Brian Kidd, all noted attackers. Dennis Stewart, incidentally, still injured. And I think it says a lot for their defence that the club skipper, Mike Doyle, is merely the substitute. So the crowd can reasonably expect a big ration of attacking football here today in a game controlled by referee Lester Chapter, who comes from South Devon. So away we go. Queen's Park Rangers in the hoop shirts attacking the goal to our right. Manchester City in their change strip, white shirts with that diagonal band. And really, Rangers, after their better start, or their better last 2 or 3 games, a marvellous test for them today against the current league leaders. And in the crowd, in the centre of the picture there, new England manager Ron Greenwood in the spectacles, and one of the men he'll be watching, you'll be sure, is Jerry Francis. England really haven't looked quite the same without him. Francis gone on now to take this ball from Stan Bowles. Turned inside again, and another England man, Dave Watson, gets it away for the throw. Masson with a throw. Williams playing it short for Bowles. Masson, Bowles. Oh, nice touch there. And Dave Clement knew it was coming, but Manchester City didn't. And Gary Owen only half gets it away. Peter Barnes. Owen hustled off that ball as well. Here's Kidd right back. Shannon beaten by the challenge of David Webb. And they're all at 6s and 7s at the moment, the First Division leaders. Here's Givens. That'll come for Gillard. Francis. Gillard. Hartford did well to close in on quickly, but Gillard had the skill and found Jerry Francis. Oh, and that was a good shot that was dipping and swaying and swerving. And Corrigan got well behind it. Francis loves a dip from that sort of range, and Corrigan really had to watch it closely. And here's Shannon. That's not a bad-looking cross by him either, just didn't quite carry beyond Givens, and a good header by Givens for the marauding Jerry Francis now. Bowles has gone wide for him, and there's the ball for Bowles. Faced by Kenny Clement. Masson. Givens. Gillard's gone on. Bowles, now Gillard, onside. And Dave Watson getting in the way. Thought Webb had misjudged that, but he readjusted quickly enough. Needham, Bowles. Slipped through there for Peter Eastoe. Clements off Bowles for a City throw. Tony Book doing a lot of pointing in there. After the disappointing display against the Poles in midweek, he wanted City to keep their heads above all else and play the football they can play. Eastoe with the header. Williams fighting away in there, trying to make a few things happen, and Donachie has played it short back to Corrigan and was a little lucky before Eastoe got in there. That was a poor back pass by Willie Donachie. It was always going to fall short of Corrigan, and Eastoe is so quick, very nearly got in there to punish that mistake. Booth. Too high even for Royal. Nice bit of play there between Masson and Webb. Here's Francis. Now here's Clement. Inside for Francis. Looking up as the ball came towards him, and it'll come for Bowles, and he tried to get that between Donachie and Watson. But here's big Dave Watson. Brian Kidd. Surprisingly deep for him so far in these opening minutes. But then City really have been pushed back by this useful-looking Rangers side. Now Shannon. Good cross by him. Oh, it must be. And somehow Royal failed. Yes, he got it in there. Well, he took 2 or 3 stabs at it, and there's a much-relieved man, Joe Royal. It looked for a moment as though Phil Parkes had foiled him, but a brilliant run it was by Mike Shannon. One of his typical raiding runs, and he crossed inside, and Royal looked as though he had a goal begging at his mercy, and he really made a meal of it. Queen's Park Rangers 0, Manchester City 1. 9 minutes gone. Joe Royal the scorer. Now Bowles. Williams. Cross towards Given. I think there's some pushing there. It was saved by Corrigan and saved well, but the linesman's flag was way up before Don Gibbons' shot. Kidd. Hartford. Clements. Gary Owen. And Clements. Royal's waiting in the middle. That's the one played into space in front of Royal, and a great shot and a good save. Beautiful bit of football there by Manchester City. Getting a really generous round of applause. Kenny Clements playing one of those deadly balls into space in front of men coming forward. Royal hit it well, and Phil Parkes was equal to it. Peter Barnes with a corner for City. Clement with a header away. Barnes, Hartford, chipped in again, Masson, Owen, Clement. Hartford. That's a City throw. Peter Barnes to Asa Hartford. The little chip again towards Brian Kidd this time. And Watson. And Bowles will take it. Williams. Donachie to Kidd. And it's Bowles for Masson. Webb. The little chip through, delightful, but it didn't quite go for Eastoe. Oh, there was a late challenge there where David Webb, in his enthusiasm, carried right through. And in fact, it's a foul by Asa Hartford. Maybe a bit of retaliation there, which was the one thing that Tony Book didn't want his players to get involved in. It was A strong old challenge by David Webb, his enthusiasm carrying him right through. But the upshot of it all is that QPR now get a free kick. With the crowd getting behind them. And Masson behind the ball. A little chip for Williams. Played short for Bowles. And Williams hitting it low very sensibly. Jerry Francis, goal! Well, there's a conversation going on there, but there's no doubt the two people most involved in that, because when Bowles had played the ball to Williams, he very sensibly played it in low and hard across that City goal mouth, and Jerry Francis applied the finishing touch. Queen's Park Rangers 1, Manchester City 1. The man who made it, Brian Williams, with Jerry Francis, the man who scored it. Now Kidd, inside for Donachie. Brian Kidd. Well, Hartford did well, got it back again. Woof. Hit Shannon on the way. Looking in very lively form, Mick Shannon. Kidd. Joe Royle on the far side, always a good target, and Hartford caught it on the volley, but judgment has to be so fine with that sort of shot. Nice jump there by Eastoe. Nicely guided header for Masson. Nice skill by Masson. And look at this break by Williams. Is he going to make it count? Oh, and a great stop there by Corrigan. And Watson, to the relief of all City fans, had to whack that away. Precious close to his goal, but to safety for the corner. A great break there by Brian Williams, who looks a player finding his feet still in the First Division, but he knew where the goal was, and it was only the outstretched foot of Joe Corrigan that prevented Rangers getting number 2. And in the end, Watson put it away for the corner. So Bowles with this corner. Hit high again there, Masson with a header. But there was a City header that was more powerful. Gillard. Booth, in fact, was playing them all onside. And Joe Royle just got in the nick of time. Good little spell this for Rangers. Come back well from that early goal against them after 9 minutes to get the equaliser with Jerry Francis, and now pressing for one that'll put them ahead just before half-time. Bowles with the corner. Again the fist, only as far as Jerry Francis. He caught that well on the volley, and oh my word! Well, Francis's volley took a wicked deflection on the way, I think from a City player, and the bounce almost beat Joe Corrigan. It's incredible when you think a few years ago, Joe Corrigan had a weight problem. He looks tremendously fit and slim at the moment. 6 foot 4.5 inches of him. Givens, Francis, playing with a lot more confidence now, Rangers. That's not a bad ball from Bowles if Gillard can get up there, which he can't. And Clements did remarkably well. No, the linesman had his flag up. The ball out of play. Gillard. Cross towards Stan Bowles. Stan having a moan at the referee that he was fouled by Willie Donachie, but the referee didn't want to know. That's going to be a throw to Rangers. Williams. And Masson dinking that in there, saying get in after that one. But it was Asa Hartford who got it away to Royal, guiding his header to Shannon. A nice pass here for Hartford. My word, Hartford's getting through some work. Now Peter Barnes. Oh, look at this for a run by Barnes. Oh, a tremendous piece of play by Peter Barnes, calling for a great save at the end by Phil Parks. What a great run by Barnes, gliding past one challenge, gliding past another, and then at the end of all, finding a tremendous shot, stopped by Phil Parks. Well, what a note to finish a sparkling first half on, with Joe Royal having put Manchester City into the lead early in the game when it looked as though he might miss a golden chance. And Jerry Francis coming back to get his second goal of the season to make it level peggings for Queen's Park Rangers. So the half-time score then here at Loftus Road is Queen's Park Rangers 1, Manchester City 1. Welcome back to Loftus Road. A half-time of 1-1 here between Manchester City and Queen's Park Rangers, and it's City who now kick off, attacking the goal to our right. It's not been their happiest ground for the last 3 or 4 years, Manchester City, since QPR came back into the First Division. They've lost 3-0 here, then 2-0 here, and last season 1-0. Well, it's 1-1 at the moment, so I suppose you could say there's a slight improvement all along for them. Here's Hartford for Manchester City. Peter Barnes trying to get on the inside. Dave Clement, but it'll be a throw to Manchester City. Kidd's throw, looking for Royal. In fact, it found Royal in the end. Gary Owen playing it wide for Brian Kidd again. Clement. Well, Shannon might have got away from Webb. Givens. It's a strangely languid start to this second half. And so far as Rangers are concerned, it's a pretty mucky one. They don't seem to be able to get on the right foot at all at the moment. Another throw for Manchester City. A long cross going in, and just a little too high for Gillard and for Kidd, and Williams comes back in here now to try and retrieve the situation for QPR. On for Jerry Francis. Well, he's gone fighting on there, and in the end, Donachie had to play it all the way back to Corrigan. And here's Shannon on the ball again for Manchester City. Finding Barnes. Donachie. Royal right in there with a header. Oh, and Gary Owen very nearly finished it off. The power and the danger of Joe Royal in the air were very well illustrated then. He got up so well, made almost something out of nothing, and Gary Owen was so quickly onto it, and Park saved at very close range for QPR. Kidd, Shannon, Kidd again, Owen, Clements. Again, that cross going in towards Joe Royal. Phil Parks was aware of the danger from the moment that cross started swinging in. Now it's Gibbons. Francis. Gillard. Watson's header away. Masson just touching that on for Bowles. A touch back again for Masson. Played nicely there for Eastoe. He's quick. And is he quick enough? No, he's not. Well, he got A good positive touch on it, Peter Eastoe. A lovely break by QPR, and Eastoe's touch always going just that little bit wide. Williams back to Clement with a quarter of an hour of the second half gone. Here's Dave Clement. Williams again on the run, played in early again towards Eastoe. Goal kick given. He's been kept very well in check, Peter Eastoe, former Swindon and Wolves striker. The ball is not outside the penalty area, it'll have to be taken again. He's had a good run in the last 2 or 3 weeks for Manchester City as Mike Shannon. 4 goals in the last 3 games. Another one now would be invaluable for Manchester City, but instead of that it's Jerry Francis, brought down, free kick. A combination of Watson and Owen causing that free kick to be given. And they've taken it already, but not one from the right place, and 2 before Mr. Shapter was ready, I think. So Joe Corrigan gets that rather crowded view. 4 men in the City wall. I can't imagine that they will try anything until they get a little closer in, although Dave Clement has a bit of a whack on him. Jerry Francis turning it back in again. Clement had gone right forward, and Tommy Booth thought that was the safest thing to do. So another corner for Rangers. Stan Bowles with this corner. Curled in once more. Needham with a header. Joe Corrigan not happy with the cover. Good swinging corner again from Stan Bowles. Dave Needham up well. And Corrigan just getting a fingertips to do the work for City. So Don Masson will take it from this side. Needham stays up there. But it was the City heads who got there. Eastoe looking for it to come to the ground. And Watson, who came out and asserted himself very quickly. Now can Masson pull this one back? That's a good cross as well. But it was Royal who got the header that time. Oh, the feet were high by Gary Owen on Jerry Francis. Goodness knows Jerry Francis has had enough problems with injury. That long struggle with a back injury, and then this season with a hamstring. In fact, he said to me before the start, if you'd been here earlier, you'd have got odds on me finishing the game if you'd gone to the local bookie. Well, he's looked in fairly sprightly form, though, so far. He's scored Rangers' goal in number 8. And now from this free kick, he's having this conversation with Don Masson to see whether they can add to it. Now, Francis is going to see what he can do in that wall. It's an old trick he's tried before. There he is. Now, what will they produce? Stan Bowles with the shot, in fact, going a long way through, and Joe Corrigan behind it. Jerry Francis. Oh, that was a wild challenge again by Dave Clement. On Gary Owen. And Peter Eastoe's coming off. And Ron Abbott coming on in the last 11 minutes for QPR. Some deep conversation there. John Collins on the right, used to be at Fulham and at Watford. Frank Sibley and Roy Francis, of course, Jerry Francis' father, on the left. Abbott stretching out. The ball breaking there for Hartford. Bowles couldn't get it back. And Hartford's played it back for Williams. And he very nearly got in there. Crossed in once more towards Masson, and Hartford, who caused the flutters in the first place, is the man who thankfully hooks it away. Now Shannon. And Clement timing the moment when he would turn it into touch to stop that Manchester City number 8. We're into injury time. Webb hooking it away. Booth up again so well. Kidd to Watson. To Watson again. I hope he doesn't play it back. They've been positive for so long, and well, it makes little odds in any case. The final whistle has gone. A disappointing second half after such a good first one. And Manchester City coming with men determined to attack, and they really played a full part in a brilliant first half when Joe Royle put Manchester City ahead and Jerry Francis got an equaliser for Queen's Park Rangers. So we have a final scoreline then at Loftus Road. Queen's Park Rangers 1, Manchester City 1.
So a 1-1 draw, which, like the game itself, I fancy, didn't really wholly satisfy anyone. City half pleased with the point, but believing that they got the skill to get 2. Rangers, I suspect, half pleased by the way they came back, but believing that home advantage should have taken them a little closer to victory. It was one of those sort of afternoons. Let's have some more action now, and for this we follow the fortunes in the second division of Crystal Palace. What a good start they've made under manager Terry Venables. But it's the interesting thing really about their visit yesterday was to see how they recovered from their dramatic midweek defeat by Southampton in the League Cup, when of course they missed a penalty with the very last kick of extra time. So let's see then, Sheffield United against Crystal Palace. The pictures come from Yorkshire Television, the commentator's Martin Tyler, with Palace in the yellow strip.
Finally, Paul Hinchelwood. Franks in quickly. Back to the goalkeeper from Ian Evans. Palace, who won at Millwall in their first away game and have drawn at Burnley. Forward from Harcook, cut out by Kenworthy. Now Spate with Salmons looking for space in the middle of the field. It's taken away from him by Swindlehurst, and Harcook is onside. Bourne and Hilaire making ground into the middle. Coming to Hilaire at the far post. Chatterton's there for the knockdown, and Brown has to save the lob from Nicky Chatterton. But the problem for Sheffield United really stemming from being caught square in the first place when Harcook got away. The cross knocked back by Hilaire, and Brown had to save from Chatterton. Harcook then with the corner. Looking it for Chatterton, who leaves it for Swindlehurst, and it took a deflection, but Swindlehurst will claim it. So the warning from Palace about the set piece. The shot from Swindlehurst. And really crashing into the back of the net, taking a deflection on the way. Evans losing out. Now Salmons for Sheffield United. For Spate to Woodward. Campbell and Edwards in the middle for the cross. It'll come for Campbell. Can he guide it across the goal? He went for the direct header and it was pushed away by Burns, and as he turned it back again, there was no one far forward enough from the middle of the field. And a beautiful cross from Alan Woodward, and a really powerful header at the far post from Campbell. And the flag again up for offside. It wasn't Campbell who was chasing it, but Edwards further over. Hinchelwood. Palace again, quite happy to take their time, building from the back. Graham, oh, a delightful flick for Bourne. Another nice return pass from Hilaire. Now for Chatterton. Is it a shooting chance for him? Well, Mickey Chatterton is another of these midfield players with a knack of getting goals. Likes to get forward. He's often to be found on the end of things in the penalty area. That was a little further out, and the shot went wide of Jim Brown's left-hand post. As though Campbell was coming back from an offside position. The flag stayed down. Hampson. Woodward. Woodward going to try and make an opening for himself. And a deflection. Will it come for Edwards? And now Campbell. Well, it was a double chance set up by Woodward, whose shot was deflected to Edwards. His shot was blocked, and then Campbell put it high and wide. Goes Graham, glided on beautifully for Hilaire. In tight situations, really has exhibited one or two electric touches. Sansom. But Campbell had got back with him. The decision goes to Crystal Palace. Trying to work the throw for Harcook, and it's deflected. Brown will have to sprint to stop that, and he can't. So it's a Palace corner. One goal was coming from a cleverly worked set piece from a left-wing corner. This time Swindlehurst taking it from the right. And hit first time, and in from Harcook. Well, they've done it again. Jim Brown furious with the lack of cover, but again the player coming in on the edge of the penalty area. Swindlehurst took the corner, the dummy left space behind, and Harcook hit it like a tracer bullet. And Palace have a throw-in a position they might be able to use to some profit, simply because that facet of their game was so well organised. And we might have a further delay because they're going to make a substitution, Sheffield United. Chico Hamilton, who was brought up in South London and who used to go and stand and watch at Selhurst Park, comes on now for Sheffield United against his former favourites, replacing Mickey Spate. Bourne. Still going, Jeff Bourne, past Woodward, and Bourne again. The goalkeeper has to come out, Chatterton, and it's off the line by Franks. When it looked certain that Crystal Palace would put it beyond any shadow of a doubt. It was Jeff Bourne who made the initial inroads. It came for Chatterton, who turned it in again, and Franks scrambled it to safety. Graham in quickly against Salmons. Now Harcook. As the Sheffield United players back off, Harcook creating the chance for Chatterton. Surely three. Well, Chatterton complaining he was held by the goalkeeper, but I don't think that was the reason for the miss. Harcook's skill setting it up initially, and Chatterton timing his run from deep beautifully, going round the goalkeeper, and an absolute open goal, and he missed it.
So Palace going from strength to strength, and how nice to report that they seem to be playing some lovely football while they do so. Our last match today is the Midlands derby battle between West Bromwich Albion and Wolverhampton Wanderers. Both really had made very sound starts to the season. ATV's cameras were there to catch their latest action. The commentator is Hugh Johns. West Brom are in the stripes.
Bell. Puts it away, Sunderland. Important challenge then for Robertson to make. Well won. Brazier, cross, trying to get it back and doesn't. Plays it down for Palmer. Sunderland, Statham at his back. Got away from him nicely. Ball in for Hibbett. Set wide then for Carr. Chip in, and oh yes, they stopped. And Bella's got it 7 minutes in. That was a mess on the far post. It's 1-0 Wolves. 7 minutes into the game. Willie Carr's ball in across the box. An innocent-looking ball. Godden and Wilde got themselves in a tangle on the far post. And Bell was there to stick it in. Good jump by Robertson. Hibbett meeting that ball first time for Sunderland. Back to Hibbett, the early one in for Bell. Robertson plays it back, it's a bad one. Well, that could have been a penalty very easily. A badly placed pass back. Sunderland went on. He'd beaten Godden. And it might have been a penalty then. Did Godden bring down Sunderland? Referee said no. Palmer, that's not a good ball at all. And Cross is there. And that's a penalty. Yes, sir. Well, that's a penalty then to make it level scores if it goes into the net. But this goal, if it's scored, really is all down to Jeff Palmer. That was a diabolical pass from wide on the right back into his own danger area. Tony Brown placing the ball. Scored one penalty this season against Chelsea. Brown, 1-1. Brown sending Phil Parkes one way and blasting the ball firmly the other way. Morris Daly. Good line ball for Hibbett. Willie Carr. Now Steve Daly. Punched in there by Robertson. Robson as Daly comes back at him. Mulligan. Colin Brazier winning balls well in the heart of the Wolves defence. Now it's Palmer for Wolves. Sunderland going down the right side. Statham a good interception. That'll come to Patching. Steve Daly. Hibbett. Hibbett again. Oh, and is that a penalty? No, it isn't. Referee Keith Stiles has turned down 2 penalties at this end of the field, given one and the other. That one looked a little bit dodgy. The challenge from Weil on Ken Hibbett. 5 minutes to half-time, 1-1 the score. Bell's header, Mulligan's clearance. Morris Daly. Cantello. Sunderland knocks it down to Steve Daly, and Palmer starts a run on the right. Kept the ball in play, but he's lost it. Cross back for Statham. Cantello. Wolves looking a very, very fit side. They close down on people quickly. Cross is onside. He's in for a goal here. He has scored it. And the Wolves players look at the linesman and say, how did that happen? They thought he was offside. Parkes is still stunned by the situation. There's no doubt about it. It's 2-1 West Bromwich Albion. So that long, lolloping ball down the centre of the field caught the entire Wolves defence out of position. Cross nips in very quietly and gently, kept his head, and as Parks came to him, slots it in for the second goal. Cantello trying to glide it on, didn't make contact, but he might win it back. He does. Here's Mulligan. Referee acting as a useful player then. It's Willie Johnston. Stopped by Palmer. These two having a very good little brownie between them. And Johnston will try the long throw again. Cross, good head. Good try, Tony Brown. Oh, there were a lot of good things about that little piece of football. A long throw from Willie Johnson, the head on by Cross, Tony Brown losing his marker, coming in, trying the header just wide. John Wild straight into the back of Bell. McCall's header. Sunderland. It's Steve Daly to try one. Yes! 2-2. Steve Daly and prostrate figures of West Bromwich Albion defenders as the Wolves supporters rise to their side that was drawn level here at the Hawthorns. John McCall's free kick. Headed on by Sunderland, not properly cleared. Steve Daly on it like a flash, and his shot swerving in and out of the Albion defenders. So now Albion come forward through Mulligan. Cross. Robson, shot for Tony Brown. Oh! Well, that was one of Tony Brown's real bombers then. It electrifies these Albion supporters. Bomber Brown really triggered off one of his howitzer specials. Parks had it, dropped it, grabbed it back. Mulligan's free kick. 2 or 3 minutes to go. Bell. Regis wins it for Albion. Wild. Call, well judged. Morris Daly. Challenge from Tony Brown. And Regis takes over for Albion. John McCall takes no chances. Drama mounting then in the last 2 minutes of the game. As Tony Brown sets up this Albion corner. Fox comes and never got there, and Wild drives it in, and it was off the line by Bell. What a bit of football that was.
Well, a thrilling 2-2 draw, but also, of course, it was a game where 1 penalty was given and 2 were refused. And I think to satisfy all Wolves supporters, we ought to at least to look at these 2. This looked the most obvious penalty of the 3, I thought, as Alan Sunderland goes through. The keeper comes out, misjudges where the ball is, takes the player's legs. But referee Keith Stiles, who was a lot nearer to it, I wasn't even at the game myself, of course, said no. And then there was another Wolves incident when John Wild challenges Hibbett here. As the ball comes through, the challenge looks a little on the high side. Again, he misses the ball badly, brings down the Wolves player. Again, the referee adjudged that that was not a foul. But at the other end, meanwhile, there was a third incident, as you've already seen, when David Cross goes through. Phil Parks comes out. And really, the camera angle is a little deceiving here as the Albion player goes away. You can't quite see whether Phil Parks grabs his legs or not. But the referee felt that that was a legitimate penalty. But while we were showing you the replay of that incident during the game itself, you wouldn't have seen this. I don't think I've ever seen a player harangue a referee quite the way this Wolves goalkeeper, Phil Parks, harangues Keith Stiles there. The referee, in fact, looks almost shell-shocked by it. and the players are trying to calm him down. He's not finished yet. Look at Phil Parkes. He's pointing to the cameras and saying, wait till you see that on the telly tomorrow, although the angle didn't convince me one way or the other on that penalty incident, but something for you to talk about nonetheless. That's it for this week, and something also for you to see with football on ITV next Wednesday night. It's the World Cup match between Scotland and Czechoslovakia at Hampden Park on Wednesday. It's live in Scotland that night with the exclusive highlights elsewhere on ITV at 10:30. Don't miss it. Our last thought today, Mike Shannon and Don Masson were talking earlier about the determination not to be beaten. But Mike was also saying that you can see good things in every game. For example, that brilliant run by Peter Barnes in the first half for Manchester City yesterday. Except that even then, manager Tony Book felt that he should have played it back from the byline for men waiting there. It seems you just can't please them all.